Malaysia has climbed to 25th place in the latest global talent ranking, a notable rise that places us second in Southeast Asia, just behind Singapore. But behind the headlines, questions remains. Are businesses truly seeing this progress on the ground? Are we ready for the digital future, or are we still playing catch-up in STEM and apprenticeships? Joining us today for the first time on Niaga AWANI is Wai Kit Wong, Chief Financial Officer of Carsome. I want to say thank you very much, Wai Kit, for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Firstly, beyond the numbers, Malaysia has climbed to 25th place in the World Talent Ranking. Do you think this reflects the real situation on the ground for businesses, or are companies still facing the same old challenges in finding the right people?
It's a great question. So I'm not super familiar with the study and the parameters of it. So let me speak a little bit about what I'm seeing sort of on the ground. I think from a local development perspective, I'm pleasantly surprised. I think there is great talent on the ground. And I think this is obviously a result of the long-term initiatives, the development of great universities and education policies here. And I think that it's great that now as an employer, we see that, look, we have actually a local, hiring a local talent option. If we don't always have to look overseas in order to hire when we need to. I think that today, substantially, most of our staff are Malaysian. I think probably except for tech, and we can talk a little bit more of around that, where I think we still have had to look abroad for some foreign talent. Now, in terms of sort of foreign talent, I think that we are seeing more and more people are open to Malaysia. And when you sort of make an offer, you want them to move to Malaysia, it is an option that people consider. And in fact, for us, we have hired a number of returning Malaysians from Singapore. And obviously, there is a personal angle, returning Malaysians, as they consider the option here. But the fact is that we are able to make a compelling proposition for them to come back to Malaysia and work here, which is, I think, something not many people would consider some years ago.
All right, that is the situation that we need to take a look on. Skills for the future, we also still lacking enough STEM graduates in the apprenticeships. How big of a problem is this for industries, especially that are moving fast into digital and tech-driven growth?
I think it's still a meaningful problem. I think that if you look back in sort of early days when we were building the Carsome business, you'd sort of see the people hiring, and they're very often from the same similar circles. We hired a lot of people from Shopee, from Lazada, and I think there's also a little bit of AirAsia that you've probably seen in the press around it. And just as another example, we approved to hire another sort of 10 headcounts in the tech department a few months ago. And I'd say that half the positions that we're looking to hire is still open. And partly because of this, we still keep a team of tech talents in China. So we sort of spread out our tech team across Malaysia and China. So I do think that specifically to tech itself, I think the sort of newer areas, for example, things like AI, data science, these are still areas where we can do with more talent on the ground and the whole. But the good thing is, I think we are seeing developments there. We do, I think, per se, half of our AI work, or more than that, locally, and it's something that I think we keep trying to do so. But yeah. You hope to see more improvement, more graduates, more talent in the STEM area, specifically in Malaysia.
And definitely we need all collaborations from the private and public sector to bring more talent in, and also not also talking about skill for the future, but also keeping the talent here. We know that Malaysia scores well on talent retention, but the cost of living, if you connect it, and wage pressures are also rising. How are companies managing to keep the talent motivated and prevent from brain drain? Maybe they are happy at this one company, but they know that the salary that they are having right now can't keep up or cannot catch up with their cost of living.
Yep. So, I mean, about cost of living, to be honest, I think that the cost of living in Malaysia, relatively speaking, is still quite attractive relative to our neighbor in Singapore. I think for the quality of lifestyle here, for the sort of the cost of education for your kids, and the sort of quality of it, I think it's still Malaysia still offers a very good proposition. And I think that ultimately, as a employee, and I am a returnee myself, I'm Malaysian, I studied abroad, and I chose to came back here. I think what you need to look at is really what is the cost of living versus, like you say, what is the proposition, what is the wage, what is the package, the compensation package available here, and how do you balance it out. And I think that, you know, the cost of living, I say, in Malaysia is still it has come up, but it is still manageable. But I would probably, as a sort of, from my perspective, as an employer perspective, maybe a better way, a win-win approach to sort of retain more talent here, simply to pay more. Then the question becomes, how do we pay more? Now, I do think that, you know, in order to pay more, it's not just a matter of like, oh, employers, we, you know, have to pay more. We need to create value so we can afford to pay more. We need to make the businesses here in Malaysia bigger and better so we can leverage the quality of the talent here. So what I mean by that is, for example, we do need to sort of think about how we can be more successful. How can Malaysian companies succeed not just locally, but also regionally and internationally? So I think that we have had a lot of success cases in Malaysia. You see a lot of great successful consumer companies like Mr. DIY, Asia Zeus, all these companies expanding regionally and doing very well. We see our semiconductor companies selling globally and carving a very strong niche, very big market share within their space, and being able to address that global addressable market. So I think that, you know, look, it's probably more important to or structurally, the simpler way to retain talent is to pay more by being more successful. And I think that is a point I probably want to make throughout, that talent is not just about the supply, it's also about the demand. And I think making the whole ecosystem work together on the supply and demand side is how we can succeed here.
All right, we're also climbing the ranking for the global talent in Southeast Asia. But how important is this position? And could Malaysia lose its edge if countries like Thailand or Indonesia move faster in talent reforms?
To be completely honest, I'm probably less worried about competition from our neighbors, because I do think that talent is global. I think within Carsome, we actually don't just, you know, hire Malaysians, and obviously we have people from South Asia, but we also have very good engineers from South Asia, like India, Pakistan, Eastern Europe, and like I said, we have a good tech team in China. And these sort of talent globally are always looking out for global opportunities. So even if countries like Thailand and Indonesia move faster in talent reforms, I don't think that, you know, it means that we will not have sufficient talent. If we can focus on Malaysia doing well, and if, you know, Indonesia and Thailand actually do well, and South Asia as a sort of entire region do better, I do think that it's actually good for everyone. It will attract more people globally to Malaysia as a place where people think about building careers, think of it as a place to build career and a good place to live. So I think that it's not about competition regionally, it's about thinking globally.
Thinking globally, maybe we can learn something from our regional peer as well. But take a look on the new updates on what Singapore companies cannot hire foreign freelancers for creative sectors, for like photography, we can say that videography, makeup service, and other creative work. Will this restriction also reduce the opportunity for a global collaboration and innovation in Singapore? What's your perspective on this?
I think that is a very interesting news article. I think it just came out, right? So I've only had a quick chance to look at it. I think that it's something which is specific to protect the local talent, because there are, obviously Singapore offers a very high wage and attracts a lot of talent from the region, whether it's Malaysia, Indonesia, to go in there and do work that, otherwise the local talent charge a higher wage. But I do think that in this specific case, it is Singapore protecting their local talent, because the local talent, as I think that regulation pointed out, they do need to pay local taxes. They need to pay for the sort of EPF equivalent in Singapore, healthcare insurance, so that pushes their costs a lot higher. While at the same time, like the cost of living in Singapore, as we discussed, is a lot higher than the rest of the region. So I think while there's specific niches that make this this creative industry and protecting it a little bit different from other industries. But I think that in general, countries all around the world are becoming a bit more protective. Like besides Singapore, you look at US and how they are focusing a lot more on US first. So I think that there is probably going to be a bit more policies, probably not just one country, but a number of countries that will be focused on developing local talent, protecting local talent. And this is probably just the way the world will work for in I don't know, the near future.
The future is very important, and we know that talking about talent who is transitioned globally in reforms, and we want to take a look where will the workers stand in 2026 and also in the next 10 years. The report of the global ranking also praises our infrastructure, Malaysia infrastructure, but points out weak education spending and limited apprenticeships. What more can industries themselves do to close or bridge these gaps, and how do they see the payoff from investing in talent?
I think that investing in talent is incredibly rewarding, and more than incredibly rewarding, frankly, it is a necessity. I think we spoke a little bit about countries being more protective. I do think that this is a trend that will continue, and I think that we do need to think about how do we create a bigger pool of local talent that can bring us to greater heights. So I think, at least for Carsome, we have a view that we need to be ready to hire and be ready to train. So we do not just hire and expect them to be fully functioning at 100% level from day one. To give you a few examples, we do have a large internship program where we do collaborate with various government agencies like HRDC. And we do see many of these interns convert into full-time, and I think gives us a lot of satisfaction to see a lot of these interns become very, very capable full-timers doing a job that they enjoy, and working with us to build a bigger and better company. We also have another initiative called Carsome Academy, where we provide technical and vocational education and training to anyone who's interested in the automotive industry. So we have very interesting programs like EV, how do you sort of inspect, maintain, repair EVs. So I think we actually put a lot of these programs on our website, and anyone is free to apply for it. And I think this is partly all because we realize it's actually very difficult to hire people who already have EV expertise. Just using as example, it's something which will take, will cost a lot of money. It'll be hard to find, and it's something that we need to develop right here, right now. So I think these are some examples of the things that industries are doing to close, this gap, and the investments in talent that we're doing. We don't have an AI academy right now, but I think we are working with some very capable Malaysia talent. So I think even on something a bit more cutting edge like that, hopefully we will have some developments there in the near future.